There we go. Bear with me. We're going to start over. Bringing it back to the introduction. Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Lori Christine, and I am the coordinator of academic accessibility at the University of Virginia. I am also currently serving as the chair of the VEEP Captioning Committee and am honored to represent this group of 11 folks that have worked very hard to bring you the Captioning Initiative. As you are aware, the Virginia Higher Education Accessibilities Partners, commonly referred to as VEEP, has been working for nearly a year to identify and make available vendors who can provide quality and effective captioning, both live and post-production, and audio description services to K-12 schools, post-secondary schools and institutions, and state agencies across the Commonwealth. 9 vendors have been identified to provide these services. These vendors have entered into agreements with UVA, agreeing to state terms and conditions, UVA's data protection addendum, and have undergone a UVA IT security review. UVA will serve as the administrator of these agreements, while the Virginia Higher Education Procurement Consortium and the VEEP Captioning Committee will manage the initiative. Today's demonstration by Rev.com will provide you with the information to get started using their services. Through the VEEP Captioning Initiative, Rev offers a set of services involving human intervention, thereby meeting the effective communication requirement of the ADA. They also offer other services which you are welcome to use. However, these are considered outside of this initiative. More information on the VEEP Captioning Initiative can be found under the Initiatives tab on the VEEP website, vheap.org. The demonstration today is being recorded and will be available on the Rev.com webpage through the VEEP Captioning Initiative site. And with that, I'll hand it over to Tom for the presentation.
All right, thank you very much, Lori. We're looking forward to meeting everyone and explaining to you how Rev works. Thank you for the agenda prior to the call. We've arranged a presentation to meet all of those questions, and then we'll leave some time at the end for everybody as well. But on the call today, we have Chris Kenyon, Director of Sales, and I believe most of us have met already, aside from Frankie Lewis, who is our Product Marketing Manager. So I just wanted to give her a moment to introduce herself, and then we can get right into it.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. Nice to see all your faces. Like Tom mentioned, my name is Frankie Lewis. I am on the product marketing team, work very closely with our higher education clients. So really excited to share with you guys a little bit about Rev and how to get started, and then answer any questions and figure out how we can better serve you guys moving forward.
And hey everyone, my name is Lisa Chargois. I am a customer success manager here at Rev. I've been here for, goodness, a little over 2 years at this point, and for the last year have been focusing a lot of my time also with our education partners such as yourself. I believe I'll be running a lot of the demo today, so I'll be sharing my screen, both walking you through how to place an order on Rev.com, and then a slide deck kind of talking you through our services and our products even further.
Yeah, and I just wanted to reiterate Tom's note. We're really excited about this opportunity as the leader of our education group. We're excited to work with all of you and look forward to future business relationships. So thank you again for the opportunity.
Tom, team, does it make sense for me to go ahead and share my screen and jump in?
Yep.
Yeah, I think
that was the flow that we talked about, Lisa.
Perfect. All righty. And Renee, do I need to speak a little bit slowly? Okay, perfect.
Good. Awesome. Good question, by the way.
I know sometimes I can get going really quickly, so I didn't want to. Awesome. So a quick agenda. Today I'll be, like I mentioned, walking through a demo of placing an order with Rev. Frankie is going to take over talking through some of the partnership opportunities and our upcoming product features. And then, like Tom mentioned, definitely leaving time within my demo after to ask questions. Please feel free. I see everyone's muted, but please feel free to interrupt me at any moment and ask a clarifying question. You know, this is meant to be as collaborative as you all want it to be. So before going into the demo, we did want to just take a moment and talk through the different services. As Lori mentioned, I believe captioning, our human caption service line, is going to be mostly what you all are using, but wanted you to know that we also did provide both human and automated transcription. So transcription and captioning are a little bit different, right? Captions are meant to, as the screen says, you know, display a program's audio content as text on screen. And a transcript is a bit different in that a transcript is not these time code caption groups. Rather, it can be a Word doc, a PDF, but is essentially, you know, the typed out version of the audio that is being spoken. And then our subtitles, we wanted to take a moment there. I do not believe this is part of your contract, so I don't believe you all will be ordering these anytime soon, but we wanted you to know that we do provide a translated version of our captions. So what you would do is place an order for a caption, and we take that English caption and translate it into one of 15 languages. Any questions? All righty. So I think we'll go ahead and jump into how to place an order on Rev. And I want to pause for a moment. Can you caption in Spanish if the audio is in Spanish? Great question, Kimberly. Today, our human subtitle service line only supports source audio that starts in English. So today, we do have an automated service that can take your Spanish audio and transcribe or caption that into Spanish as well, but that does not have the human intervention as Lori mentioned. It is strictly our ASR, automatic speech recognition system. And I did want to pause for a moment. Does anyone on this call today have a Rev account currently? I don't think so. Okay, just wanted to see if there was any familiarity with the UI. So this is my account on Rev today. This is kind of the main page you will see when logging in. I want to take a moment and talk about the difference of the UI, whether you are on a contract agreement with us versus a pay-as-you-go customer. On the landing page for BEEP, is that how you all pronounce the acronym BEEP? Okay. For that landing page, it does mention that you can absolutely use Rev on a pay-as-you-go basis, kind of coming and going as needed at our list rate, $1.50 a minute. But we do also have the opportunity for you all to enter into what we call an enterprise agreement, to go into a contract where you have that discounted rate. And when you have that enterprise agreement, there are a couple different features in the UI that enhance your experience versus when you're on a pay-as-you-go. And so I'll through this demo, I'll try and make sure to distinguish the difference in the UI. The first difference is this panel to the left as we see workspaces. This is a fairly new feature for Rev. I believe it came out of beta maybe 6 to 8 months ago. Time's kind of weird, right? It's hard to keep track of it all. But it is out of beta now, and it's really helped a lot of our clients, such as yourself, grow with Rev and scale over time. Please explain how the enterprise agreement will work. Within the agreement, we already signed. Great question, Lori. Do we want to pause right now and let Chris cover that, or is that something we want to go over after the demo?
Why don't you, since you brought up an additional agreement or the two different types of accounts that we can set up, why don't you go ahead and talk about the enterprise agreement now, just so we don't have any confusion that you have to go outside the initiative to get this agreement.
I can,
keeping in mind that our standard operating procedure is to pay after services are provided.
yes, I can touch on that. How that will work with each member institution will be, they'll submit an order form to Rev which references the Veep contract that is already signed. So there will not be any additional execution needed to get the enterprise rates that are listed on the Veep website currently. And so you're all invited to be enterprise level customers just by placing an order, through Lisa or Chris or someone on the sales team.
Thank you.
Yeah, mostly just want to call that out so you guys know, if you were to go to rev.com right now, you would see a little bit different experience once you're logged in. And until you get that order form signed, then you would have this experience. That's really the only reason why we call it out. But you will all have this experience.
And placing an order on Rev, whether you're on the enterprise or not, is almost 100% in line. It's just some of these features outside of placing an order. You have a little bit more flexibility and just more bells and whistles, if you will. And so speaking of those bells and whistles, workspaces. Workspaces are designed, we like to say, to allow you to collaborate or silo as needed. So let's just say Kristen and Lori are working on a project together, or maybe they just work within the same department. We could create a workspace so that Lori and Kristen can log in and they can easily look at the files that each other has placed an order for. They can go look at those final captions, they can share them, edit them, and all really easily come to the same space. So that's the collaborative version, right? Allowing you to see what other people are doing within that same workspace. Now we also have the ability to create a workspace, again, using that same example for both Kristen and Lori, but we could set it to be private so that Lori and Kristen, they might log on and they both will see that pending project workspace, but they would only see the orders that they sent. So it allows you to have any kind of privacy or confidentiality that you all might need or be concerned with. Another great feature is that with using workspaces, when you place an order, and I will be demoing this, that you can choose that file to deliver back to that specific workspace. If you do not select a destination, all of your files will deliver to the very first workspace. It's just automatically created when you create your account, and it's titled workspace number 1. And so if you never create additional workspaces, they all just kind of go to this one space. And then you can organize as needed by creating folders. So that's one quick call out about the difference of the UI here. And then another example is in your top right drop down, you will not have these top 4 options. This is my view as an employee, but you will have all of these following options. And as an enterprise member, you have the opportunity to view what we call a usage dashboard. And what this allows you to do is set the filters to your needs so that you can see how many minutes and how many dollars and cents were spent with Rev in any given time period. If creating those workspaces and ordering those files to a specific workspace, you can then also filter even further and see what department spent what money, what research projects had how many minutes. Just really letting you dig into the data in a self-serve way. Any questions or comments? Well, I think we'll go ahead and go into a demo. Oh, Mark, did you have something?
Yeah, well, I was debating about sharing, and then yeah. So my question is, how do you import all of those departments so that you can filter down to those subgroups? Like, what does that process look like? Is it when you're creating the request for services that you add that in there, or can that be pre-filled by one of the main account managers? How does that work?
Great question. So once you create an account on RevMark, so let's say you sign up with Rev today and you're a net new customer or net new account, right? From there, if you were to be on the enterprise agreement, you would simply add a workspace through this UI. So you're creating a new space. And as we were to add other, you mentioned departments, so other users to your account, we could then add those people to those workspaces. So you kind of create the workspaces as you go, as you need. That being said, that's why we partner with you all and can help you set those up as you need. So if you reach out to me, Mark, and you're like, hey, I have this big project coming up, could you help me create these workspaces? I can absolutely help you out with that as well. Does that answer your question?
It does. Yes. Thank you.
Perfect. And workspaces, again, can be created ad hoc as needed. And one other thing I did not mention is you could have one workspace be private and another workspace be public. So it's not an all or one. Every individual workspace has its own settings and they do not impact the other. Perfect. So let me just get back to the main page. So if you were to log on to Rev today and you need to place a caption order, this is the flow you would go through. This lovely purple button, place new order. And let me just start by saying placing an order with Rev is extremely straightforward. It's very user-friendly, but we do like to just call out specific items throughout the demo to make sure you get the best output for you. So you'll place a new order and you'll have the opportunity to select the service line you're looking for. Again, you all will be choosing captioning. From here, you have the ability to place your order through a variety of methods. So if the file is, if the video or the audio is downloaded to your local computer, you can upload your file that way. Today, I will be demoing a public link. So so for YouTube, for example, any URL that is not gated, so you do not need permissions, a password, any kind of gate, a public link can be used that way. We also have a direct integration with YouTube and Vimeo here. And we also have several other integrations with different portals like Panopto, Yuja, Kaltura, to name a few. And I would love to pause here. Are there any integrations that would come to mind for you all in terms of where is your content stored and where would that be coming from to get it to Rev? Kaltura, perfect.
Kaltura, Panopto, these are the most common ones here at Media.
Perfect. So I do not have an account with those portals, so I cannot demo that today. However, we have several helpful articles that we can help you set up those integrations when the time comes. So no problem there. And I would also like to point out, if you set up an integration with Kaltura, but maybe have a one-off file that is just on your computer, you can always choose a different method to place your order. So I will be grabbing this link from YouTube, pasting. And then as you see, you do have the ability to always add more, but I will be finished today. So on this page, I am using a coupon. So typically you would see, the total for your order here, but I'm using a coupon. Within the screen, it does give you an estimated delivery of when that file will deliver back to you. We do like to point out it is an estimate. We have a marketplace of over 70,000 freelancers that caption your files, but it is a true freelance marketplace and we do not assign work, which is why our turnaround times are estimates. We also like to point out that depending on the audio quality and the audio content, that can also impact turnaround time. It's a lot easier to caption a file in a quiet setting like this versus if there's a noisy classroom or if someone's out in the field somewhere. So it's important to take that into consideration as well. Within checking out, you have the option to do what we call add-ons. And so we have a premium captions add-on that adds $1.50 a minute to your order. This premium caption service line gives you the highest quality on Rev, as we only surface your files to the top 5% of Revers, which is what we call our freelancers. So your files are only ever surfaced to the people who do the best job consistently with us. You have the ability to rush your order. So if you are in a time crunch and you need that file back even quicker than our standard turnaround time, for an extra $1.25 a minute, you can rush that order. And as the screen says, your files can be delivered up to 5 times faster than our typical delivery. You can also add burned in captions. which, as you all may be familiar with, when you're watching a caption on Netflix, for example, you can turn them off and on. Burned-in captions is an MP4 output that you can embed onto the video, or where we embed your caption file onto the video. So if you ever want to pretty much, surface a video and always have the captions on, we can provide that to you as well. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we do have that subtitle service line where you can translate those captions into another language. Any questions about the add-ons or the process so far?
Just a quick clarifying question. You did say that you currently have integrations with both Kaltura and Panopto.
Correct.
Okay.
So with our captioning output, the standard format that we deliver back to you is an SRT file. It is the most commonly used caption output that there is. That being said, we do offer several other outputs, and if you do need those additional outputs at checkout, you can select those here, and it is at no additional cost. When checking out, you can also list a reference number. This is completely optional, and it really just helps you on the back end if there's extra information you want to associate with this file. Maybe you want to say that, this is for English 101, so that you always have that reference number. And then when you're in your Rev UI and search for files, you can also search for reference number. So it's just additional data to include with each order. And as I mentioned, when you have workspaces created, you have the ability to select which workspace that file should deliver to. Again, this helps with organization and the data of how many minutes and dollars were utilized within each workspace. If you do not, the last workspace that was selected is the one that is remembered. So if you're consistently ordering to one workspace, it does remember that for you. But that also means that you'll need to make sure you select the correct one moving forward. So just select this one. And then next you check out. Typically on this page here, again, I'm using Coupon, so it's a little different of a UI. Now, if you are on a pay-as-you-go method, right, there might be a credit card on file where this information will be showing. If you go into, actually, you wouldn't be prepaid. We want to go into billing arrears. So typically on this page, it will just show whatever payment method you have set up with Rev in order to pay for this order. And then you click order captions. Get rid of this. Now on this page, you have the ability to add additional resources for our Revers, such as a glossary, a script, or speaker names. These are really helpful ensuring your quality. So let's say you're sending an order for biology and you know that there's like specific terms, specific reproductive terms, for example, that you want to make sure are spelled correctly. You can add a glossary to that order and make it specific to that specific audio or video that you're sending to us. So let's say, again, we'll use the biology example. You can title the glossary whatever is relevant to you, and then input those terms that you want to ensure that those Revers are referring to. The first time you create a glossary, it is manual in that you're typing each individual word. But as you see on the right, you can also save glossaries for future use. So let's say you have someone ordering a lot of captions for the same course, and there's going to be a lot of the same terms being used. You can use those saved glossaries, again, for that content so that you don't have to create it every single time. These glossaries, again, help ensure your quality with the Rever. They use this within our proprietary software, and they pretty much have your list of words to their left as they watch your video and perfect that caption. You also have the ability to add a script. I'm not sure if you all would ever have a script for the things that you would send to us, but should you have that script, you are able to upload that file. And then speaker names. Again, if there is a, let's say it's a Zoom call, or do glossaries, do uploaded glossaries that apply to cross workspaces? Is it only available? That is a great question. Today, it does not, let's see, I'm going to find the same account. I believe, let's say Lori is in her account and creating those workspaces. Lori is only going to see her glossaries, versus being able to access someone else's. That's an interesting question, though. Is that something that you think all would be helpful for you?
I was just curious, if we've got, multiple CS faculty that are ordering captions, if we upload a glossary from one CS faculty and let's say for whatever reason they're not in the same workspace, does that other CS faculty have to upload a similar glossary, or can they tap into a university level glossary?
Yeah, great question. And I can definitely see a benefit in having those workspaces wide glossaries, but today they are only attributed to an individual user.
So just adding into that, Lisa, that for instance, we are the University of Virginia, we're the Cavaliers, we're the Wahoos, we say Wahoo Wah a lot. Let's go Who's, so there's common language across the university. So having a common glossary that could be used across an account would be very helpful.
I hear you. Okay, that's super helpful information. So we do have the ability to put an account-wide glossary on the back end for customers to kind of meet the need that you're describing. We always like to caveat that this list is surfaced for every single order. And so if that, if Go Wahoos is not going to be mentioned in every single order being sent, we want to be a little bit strategic with that. But that is a great point to make. And I would just say that once we get accounts created and individual needs identified, we can work together on what makes the most sense on an account level and a user level. And
I was just going to say that sounds good, because we certainly wouldn't want the Who's to be confused with the Hokies.
Very nice.
we don't want that either. So let's definitely keep in touch with that as we move forward. Again, this is why we are here as your partner. And so that being said, speaker names, another great resource to provide our Revers. If there's ever a video or audio, right, where there's several different people talking, it's really helpful to provide those names, especially if those people don't always identify themselves. So putting those speaker names, again, when able, is helpful for our Revers as well. Also on this page, you have the ability to add team members. So I'm going to keep picking on Kristen and Lori. Let's say Kristen places an order and she needs Lori to be notified as soon as that order is complete. We don't want her having to wait around and do all that work herself. So you can add a recipient to be notified when that order is complete as well. So just takes that work away from you. Any questions? So that's pretty much the flow, getting your audio or video from yourself to Rev within the Rev UI. I do want to take a pause as we've talked about integrations. Is that the route that we think we will go moving forward versus being in the Rev UI, uploading files?
I think it's going to vary depending on the university and the entity that you'll be working with, since there's a variety of different ones across the state. And I think, each university could be different. And yeah, so I think it could be both. It could be just singly integration, or it could be uploading them. So I think it just varies greatly.
That makes sense. And again, another example of once we start getting those accounts set up, teams identified, we can make sure that we get those integrations set up for you guys, and everything is, workflow going the way that you want it to. Okay. So from here, you can now navigate back to kind of your main page, your workspaces and your files. As we see, this took me right to the workspace that I sent this order to, and we can see that it is in progress. So this is in our marketplace, and a Rever will be picking that up shortly. I'm trying to think of so we have an hour in our best interest of time. I do want to quickly show you all our editor. This is free to use for any user on Rev, and it can be very helpful depending on your need, right? And actually this is a transcript. So let me get back to the caption editor. All transcripts. There we go. So this is what our caption editor looks like. It can look a little bit daunting if you're not used to it. But what it allows you to do is edit the caption file if we got anything wrong, right? So making sure that we spell "veep" correctly, if that was spelled incorrectly, right? You could go in and all you have to do is simply backspace, type what you're needing, and go from there. It will automatically save for you in the moment. And we also have a super, super helpful find and replace. So if you were, trying to make sure that specific employee names, department names are spelled correctly, you can do a really quick search, find, replace. I don't want to spend too much time in the editor today because we have a lot to cover. And I think that would be a great follow-up training for end users in the future. But please know that we have free editing tools for all of our service lines. We have helpful help center articles to walk you through how to use these. And I am here to provide trainings on those articles or on these features. Okie doke. Demo wise and placing an order wise, how do you all feel about the Rev UI? Simple enough, straightforward, questions, concerns? Got a thumbs up. All right. No news is good news, so we can keep rocking. Okay, so this is, like we mentioned, a deck that we will absolutely share out with you all. For each, as I mentioned, for placing an order for each service line, you have several different ways, from your local computer with a public link and even using integrations. Also, as I mentioned, you have the ability to add glossaries and speaker names. And so again, all of this is meant to be a resource for you to come back to later. Obviously, we are recording this, but all of these link out to our Help Center articles that you could always refer to. And our Help Center is an extremely helpful resource. We use it every day, even as employees. It's a great resource. Oh, let me get to the. I will close this. Perfect. So rating files. While we do anticipate providing you the quality captions that you are expecting, if you are ever unhappy with the final output of your file within the Rev UI, you can also rate your files. So as we see here within this star system, if you rate your file 1, 2, or 3 stars, you can then leave a comment on what you were unhappy about. Our team will then audit your file, and if it does not meet our quality standards, we will redo that for you for free. If you ever feel that we should redo a file for you and we are not, please feel free to reach out to me and we can definitely take a closer look at that. But know that we do have a style guide that our Revers should be adhering to, and that should be meeting your quality standards, but we will always take a second look at that if you feel it did not. We kind of went, what is the turnaround time for Rev team to audit? That's a good question. Good question, Mark. I would say that it could take about 24 to 48 hours for our team to review that file. And being a little elongated with that turnaround time, I think it could happen a bit faster, but it could take up to 48 hours for us to audit, and then it would then go back into the marketplace to be redone. So as we've mentioned, Workspaces is a really great feature for teams like yourself. And as we get to the place where we need to set up those workspaces and teams and authorized users, that's what we are here to help for, is build out those workspaces and make sure that each member has access that they need. We went over dashboards, so we won't go into this. So our proposed relationship timeline. When we enter in an enterprise agreement with a client, we have a proposed timeline that we like to follow. From its inception, we like to have a kickoff call where we meet with the stakeholders and the end users to really understand what your needs are from Rev. Are you sending us course content? Are these maybe internal meetings? How can we best set up your account? Throughout the relationship, we like to have quarterly business reviews where we look at your usage, we get feedback on the product, and just make sure that we have a positive working relationship. Then we typically, towards the end of that relationship, talk about renewing our contract with each other. And so this is just showing you typically what our contracts look like. And then, as I mentioned several times, we are here to make sure that Rev works for you in the way that you need it to. And so we have found that in the first 90 days of someone creating an account and getting up and running with Rev, that's really the sweet spot for us to get in and have those stakeholder trainings, have the workflow ideation, again, talking through, do we want to do a integration? Does it make the most sense to upload from your computer? And so this is just showing again that we are really here to help you, and we like to focus in on those first 90 days. Any questions or feedback on this? I'm trying to make sure we have some time, so I'm running a bit through this. So please feel free to stop me if I'm not making sense or if you want me to dive in deeper on something. As I've mentioned, we also have a VIP support team. I think I've mentioned it. This is all of their contact information and the hours that they are working. In addition to us in the room, we always like to recommend also reaching out to our support team, especially for those technical questions. They work longer hours and there are more of them, so they can typically get back to you a little bit faster. I also have to ask for help from my support team a lot of the time as well. So they're just a great team to reach out to from the jump if there is a technical question. And then we also just have common questions to ask the support team and have linked out helpful articles as they relate to questions that you might have. And so that is my portion of the presentation. So we did a demo, we kind of talked through the differences of the UI a little bit from when you're on an enterprise versus if you just logged on today and got rocking and rolling. Any questions? Okay. Well, I hope that was helpful and informative. And again, please know that this is just the beginning. We can absolutely have follow-up calls and trainings as needed.
Awesome.
Oh, and I guess I'm driving.
That tees me up well for this section. Just one slide. Just wanted to connect with you all. Like Lisa mentioned, she's going to be a resource. Chris is a resource. Tom is a resource. I'm a resource moving forward. But really wanted to kind of get your guys' feedback on your initial thoughts, and they can evolve as time goes on as you start using Rev more too. Of what is most helpful from us to help your universities get started and beyond that initial experience, getting more out of Rev. These are a few ideas that we've found successful when we've worked with other partners. Things like a getting started packet, similar to this presentation we've walked through today. Also things like we've seen the awesome landing page that you guys have it clearly laid out of kind of who Rev is and what we offer. But if there's other ways it would be helpful for us to send to the members of your guys' universities so they know what Rev provides and how to get started and how to get directly to getting an order form set up. That's also an option. And then in addition to we've now given you the high level view of how to get started with Rev. As you dig in and you identify things like integrations or certain features that are important to you, if there's certain one-pagers or videos that would be helpful that are specific to you and your school and your department, we can create those as well and share them with you, or share them directly with the people within your university as well. And then lastly, as Lisa mentioned, with these quarterly business reviews, we are happy to come on campus to do virtual lunch and learns. we found that there is often, someone who is interacting with Rev's interface or submitting captions. They're going to want to talk about different things than someone that's coming from a billing perspective or a wanting to see usage, stuff like that, and the ROI of using Rev. So we're happy to set up those trainings separately as well. Really just want to do whatever is most helpful for you guys. Is there any initial thoughts on, besides the information we've shared today, is either types of information that would be helpful or different channels that would be helpful for us to connect with your members? We recognize we're one of a few vendors available, and so whatever makes the most sense for you all. And also, okay, if you don't know yet.
There's a question in the chat from Mark Nichols.
Yeah, so the question, do integrations have the ability to request premium captions, rush my order, or burning captions, or is that only requested through the platform? And those features are only available through the Rev flow and not through the integration.
But a great request, and if that's something that you find that you need, I work very close with our product team and can relay that message.
Frankie, wouldn't that be a possibility through an API connection? If we had that set up directly with the university, would they be able to place files in certain folders and then they would get certain treatment essentially?
Definitely placing certain file or certain folders. I'm not sure about the add-ons, so I think it would still apply that has to be done through the current flow, but we can double check on that.
But I will also say, to Frankie's point about bringing your feedback to our product teams, integrations are something we are really taking a look at this year of how do they work today and what do our customers need from the integration. And so all of this feedback is going to be super helpful for our roadmap this year. So again, we definitely want to keep that conversation going when we start identifying who's using integrations and which ones and what your needs are.
Awesome. And then lastly, we'll just touch on a few either recently released, some that we talked about through the demo, and then also an upcoming one that's in beta right now. So Lisa talked about premium captions. This is a newer product for us, but something that we've found to be very effective for a lot of our customers, either because they want to just have peace of mind with the higher quality output, or maybe less relevant for education, but if they're trying to meet certain compliance, FCC compliance standards, more relevant for broadcasting and media. Though we do work with media departments in universities as well. And so this is just a little more detail of how you can do it, at an account level, or you can also do it order by order, depending on if there's maybe a certain type of content that's kind of higher value. You want to make sure that it's getting the best freelancers working at it and producing that higher quality output. One other thing to call out here, in addition to some of the features that we talked about, like glossaries or speaker names that you're able to do on a file-by-file basis with premium captions, because it's this premium level service, we also offer additional customization options. So if there is certain formatting you need, if there's certain kind of additional terminology requests that you need to come in, you can work directly with Lisa to share that, and that will be relayed to our freelancers as well. And then integrations has obviously come up quite a bit in this, but just wanted to reiterate, these are many of our integrations we have today, and items like Vimeo and Kaltura, we're actually working on improving the integration because we've gathered some existing customer feedback. We'd love to hear from you guys as you start using them as well. If there's certain, like you said, the add-ons would be important. That's great feedback. If you want to be able to order different service lines, or just even improving the kind of experience as it exists today, we want to hear all the responses as possible, and then we'll share it with our product team. And then lastly, On top of the workspaces that Lisa mentioned, this is something that is in beta now, and if any of you guys are interested, please let us know. We heard this feedback from a lot of our EDU customers specifically, is if a university had an account and they had multiple workspaces that were set up for each department, but each department has funding coming from different places. They want a different billing method. They want to be able to see visibility of their billing that they don't want others to see. And so this was something that really stemmed directly from customer feedback. So now you can set up your workspaces and have separate billing for each one. And then that makes it a lot easier on the back end as you're trying to look through, okay, which workspaces was spending what amount and what billing type, billing method made most sense to them. And there's no barriers there. So is this something that initially there's any interest in, or also okay if we don't know yet?
I think from the UVA point of view, this is something that we would be interested in. Having the decentralized accounts that we have here, this is the direction we would probably need to go. We're not ready to jump right in tomorrow.
Totally fine. It's good to know that it will be useful down the road. I think that UVA may have been one of the reasons we built this, which is awesome. So I'm glad to hear that we can now serve you with it. But well, whenever you want to learn more about it and how it may work for you, we can definitely set you up with our product team directly.
That's right, Lori. Let the other schools be the testers, and once it's into a live place, then we'll regroup.
That sounds good, and always glad to do our part.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, that is all the content we have. Are there any other questions? Any other initial thoughts on information that would be helpful to share with you all?
No questions from the audience?
Any feedback, Lori? You've seen a few of these. Is this on point?
Well, I think you're all spot on, and we want to thank you very much, Frankie and Lisa, for your presentations, and we really look forward to working with you and having this relationship go forward. So if there aren't any questions, we can give you 10 minutes back in your day, which is always helpful. Chris or Tom, do you have anything else to add?
I do not. I just want to thank everybody again for your attention today. We're very excited. I mean, obviously, we work with a number of schools already, but we're really excited about this opportunity and look forward to reaching out to the rest of the schools that we're not working with and hopefully getting started.
That sounds good. One last offer for questions from the peanut gallery. Nothing? Okay, then I'm going to say thank you and stop our recording. And Chris and Tom, if you guys could stick around for a little bit, and Kristen, the rest of you, I'm stopping recording right now too. Corey, if you can stay too.